Hi, this is Gareth here from Heartfelt Horsemanship. Jamie Lynn is with Alamo and she's going to be demonstrating how to drive your horse using rhythmic pressure. The first exercise we'll use is the backup. We'll start as gentle as possible and graduate to as firm as necessary. As soon as the horse does what we want, they back up. And we give a nice long rest. This dwell time is where the horses absorb what you teach them, stops them getting anxious. Okay, so Jamie will pick up the rope, and it's just her finger moving on the rope at the moment, with rhythm, and then she elevates up to phase 2, phase 3, and whatever it takes. The idea here is that the horse will eventually respond at the lightest pressure. So we don't always go through to 4 phases. If the horse gets there with the lightest pressure, we don't need to get higher. Jamie, if we can do the finger on the rope first. Okay, so suggest, ask, with rhythm, give it the chance to answer. If it doesn't, then you take it up to promise. Okay, so you answered at promise there. Jamie didn't need to get to the hardest phase, and she gives a complete release. You don't give half a release, you give a complete release. And she's going to give him some time. Now the drawback, one of the ways you can pull him back is with rhythm, run your fingers over the rope very lightly, open hands, and if he answers to that, you can come in with that. Let him come in and give a release. If he fights, you slowly close your fingers on the rope. James can just demonstrate another form of a backup, and then she'll draw him back in. Now, we always say as gentle as possible, as firm as necessary. Once Jamie draws Alamo back in after he's had his lick and chew, we're going to discuss the one time that gentle as possible is not appropriate. If you have a crazy horse, and it's going to seem a little unfair on Alamo, but we'll beg forgiveness afterwards. If you have a horse that's never learnt any manners about respecting human space, and they run all over you, then you have permission to go straight to crazy. So it's not punishing the horse, it's just, well, whenever you get in my space like that, I don't know what happens, I just go a little mad. There's no time for gentle as possible if your life's in danger. Never forget to take the time to give him a rub and feel like you actually do like him. You can come out here and spend an hour telling a horse what to do and you wonder why the next day you can't catch him. If you remember back to school and you had a teacher that told you do this, do this, do this, do that, and you wondered why you didn't want to go to school in the morning, as opposed to the teacher that actually gave you some time to think about it and some time for yourself. Okay, that's the backup. Jamie's going to do one more with a different method. Again, gentle as possible, firm as necessary, but a different type of stimulus. There are no rules for how we move our horses, only the principles. So the principles are as gentle as possible, as firm as necessary. You never release on a brace, reward the slightest try, and the horse sets the timeline. We can be very creative within those principles, and adjust how we do things. Then we can back him up from sideways, from the side of the horse, and there she's, instead of swinging the rope left to right, it's just up and down, so that the knots hit on both sides. Jamie, would you mind doing it from the front again so we can explain why we do left to right from the front? Okay, so you'll notice when Jamie's wagging the finger, she's doing left to right. That makes the knots activate alternatively on each side of the horse's face. So that keeps the horse straight from the front. But if we were to do the same from the side, one knot would be favored and the horse would not stay straight. Yes, let's go from the side. We're looking for a horse to back up straight with us. If they're not backing up straight with us, there's a respect issue. You'll see Jamie moves back with him. Okay, Jamie's going to move to the forequarters. Notice that how Jamie's got the rope here. She does not have her hand tangled up in the rope. Chuck it out. And she touches the air with rhythm. And he moved across, so she didn't have to go to the higher phases. So we start with just patting the air. Then we make it a little bigger on the air. And then if necessary, we'd start tapping the horse until he moved over. You'll see in one of the other videos we've got with Mateen on one of his first sessions, there we'll have to take it to the higher phases. Alamo is a little more sensitive, so we don't generally have to go to the higher phases. So we're looking for his hind feet to stay still and his forequarters to come across. The reason we would like to be able to have a horse's forequarters go across, other than the fact that it relates to riding, that's how we get our direction, is when we're leading a horse, if a horse starts shouldering into us, we can lift our hands up and drive them across so they don't shoulder into us. Same with the backup. The backup is to teach the respect of our space and also to be able to control them with our feet still. He's stepping across beautifully. So there's a safety aspect, and then there's the aspect that we are communicating for our riding down the line. Yeah, if we can't get the forequarters to go across, we can't steer. There's a perception that natural horsemanship teaches circus tricks. Everything we're doing here applies to having a safer, more compliant partnership when we ride. If you enjoy horse wrestling, then these exercises aren't really for you, because we want to be able to steer our horses with next to no pressure. So yeah, we are not using force, we're having a mental connection that the horse understands what we're asking. Certainly pressure is a motivator when they're learning. Once they understand, it's every bit as much communication as a conversation between two people. Notice Jamie does not interrupt his lick and chew. That's him processing something. We could cut that short and then we have to go back to teach it again. Now with the lick and chew, as much as I said earlier, spoke about don't be afraid to give your horse affection, make sure you give them the space in that lick and chew to not be admiring them and mushy face, and let them have the lick and chew. Once they stand there, then you can go in and give them the affection. Okay, hindquarters. The reason we teach the horse to move off rhythmic pressure for the hindquarters is it becomes a reset for them. It's a relaxation tool. It also gets the dangerous kicking end away from us. So again, a matter of respecting our space. Jamie will come to the shoulder. She'll do her best impersonation of an angry mare. So the phases there is Jamie will initially just look, make it very clear where she's focusing. Then the swing of the rope would be, the initial swing of the rope would be a horse pinning its ears at another horse. Then the more aggressive would be baring its teeth, and then when we touch them would be the bite. Okay, here we go again. So Jamie's going to focus, make it very clear where she's looking. So with Alamo, he's a little more advanced. But the horse that hasn't had it done before, we might need to start at the shoulder, because we'll that much pressure, we'll probably just have the horse run backwards at us, on us. So if Jamie starts at the shoulder, now Jamie moves her feet only when he's moving his feet, or if she's about to touch him. Same with the forequarters. If Jamie were to start moving her feet at the forequarters, she's going to follow through with a touch. So very important we get the 2 eyes, 2 ears on you. You could imagine an army salute when they step back around. Yes, ma'am. Now, if there's one thing you're going to use a lot during this program, it's going to be the hindquarter disengagement. It's a thing we use to get our horses calm when they get bothered, and we use it a lot. Further down the line in the mastery, you're going to use this to engage your horse's hindquarters. So disengage and then re-engage is very important. It's part of how we teach a horse sideways. It's how we teach a horse lead departs. Everything goes back to that engine room in the hindquarters, and we need a way to control it. And this is where it starts. Okay, Jamie's going to put those 3 together. Here's the backup, forequarters, hindquarters. As you can see, you can be really creative about how you mix these up. Another aspect of the hindquarter disengagement, which you'll see later in the mastery class, is we start using it as a game over, you win. So when you send a horse in a circle, and you send them over something or through something, and you want to say that's the right thing to do, we start teaching that the disengage means, okay, time to relax, you did the right thing. Okay, Jamie's going to work on the send forward. Okay, and Jamie will also give a good example of where that game over, you did the right thing comes in here. It's also very important to watch where Jamie focuses her driving. We don't focus behind the horse because that pushes him in a straight line. Jamie's driving at the shoulder. Where we've just taught the forequarters, that's where she's driving. The horse goes off, she disengages and said, game over, well done, you did the right thing. She lifts it, leads it, swings at the shoulder. And then when he goes out, she stops sending once he's going at the pace she asked, and then disengages. When Jamie sends him back around this side, we'll go through the process a little slower. So, the first phase is lift it. She lifts the rope, but there's slack in the rope. So he's already answering at that phase 1, which is perfect. We'll try and get him to where Jamie can get to the lead it part. So phase 1 is lift it, then lead it touches the nose, and exactly how we do in the same place when we pick up our reins when you're riding. Now, Alamo is a very light horse, so you won't need to drive at the shoulder as much with a horse like that. We don't need to go any heavier than we need than where they respond at. So if we get to phase 2, and they respond, we go back to neutral and let the horse relax. You see his head position. Now, Alamo is a Frisian, quite well known for their high head carriage. But even them, when they're relaxed, they've got the more of a quarter horse pose. So there we go, Jamie did the driving there, the phase 3. Now, if you've got a fidgety horse and you're giving that release and they start fidgeting, dwell time ends and you correct them moving forward without asking. Notice how Jamie goes back to neutral once the horse is going. That's the difference between what Jamie's doing now and what lunging looks like. Lunging, you drive forward on every step. What we want the horse to do is have a responsibility to stay at the gait that you asked. So if the gait is standing still, like he is now, he stays until Jamie asks him to go off at a walk, and then Jamie gets back to neutral. If Jamie were to lift her life now, Alamo would go up into a trot, and then she would get back to neutral, and he would stay in a trot until asked otherwise. And she's back neutral. She doesn't have to chase him. The reason for this is that we want the horse to be responsible for their motion when we're on them as well. If you have to kick a horse for every stride forward, you might as well be walking or running. We have bred these horses to be our partners, to carry us. And we have responsibilities and they have responsibilities. Their responsibility is to look after their feet and maintain their gait when we ask them a gait. Now Jamie's taking it a little further here in terms of the circling, which we will cover in the mastery. For now, we just want you to be able to send your horse by so that you can saddle them up and check them out at a walk, trot, and canter over something, so that we can know that there's no pain issues with the saddle and you're going to have a safe ride, or claustrophobic issues in a tight space. This first module is just about getting you up there and riding safely, or knowing when not to ride. There's a mindset in the equestrian world that just get on and ride, doesn't matter how scared you are. Fear is there for a reason, and going through all these exercises can tell you when you're safe with the horse. The opposite of fear is not bravery. The opposite of fear is knowledge. So if you go through these exercises and something comes up and you know that your horse is not safe, it wouldn't be brave to ride it, it would be stupid to ride it. We'd like to empower everyone to be able to say, not today, I don't feel it's a good idea. You might save yourself some hospital bills or vet bills. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch you on the Mastery series.